we're pushing this hashtag force the vote, and there's been a lot of bad faith attacks and a lot of bullshit excuses why not to do it. Mark Pocan was the first one who gave a litany of ridiculous ideas. He said it doesn't even work, you can't do it, all this stuff. And of course he's wrong. He was just lying because they don't want to do it. So that was Mark Pocan. He was the co-chair of the caucus. And then AOC engaged Justin Jackson on Twitter. And so that's why we went from aiming to Mark Pocan, and then we went after AOC. We started aiming our vitriol at AOC because she was now engaging us. She wasn't engaging us directly. She was engaging us through a surrogate known as Justin Jackson, the LA Chargers running back, right? So all the arguments I was making, he made to her and destroyed her. She thought he was going to go away. He didn't. So now when I got this going, Cenk Uygur was on board with it. So now there's a lot of bad faith attacks that Cenk Uygur has picked up from AOC and other people and is just forwarding them. So at first, when this idea, before it was popular, before he thought it would take off, he was for it. He said Jimmy is making a constructive effort to actually vote on Medicare for all and to unite progressives despite our differences. I love that. Even if you don't think it's the perfect way to do it, you have to agree. We all have to push progressive legislators to get this introduced. So that's what he said on December 7th, before it took off. He also said 53% of Americans want Medicare for all, even after overwhelming propaganda by national media, Republicans, and Democratic leadership against it. 87% of Democratic voters want it, and Democrats won't even vote on it. Anyone who tells you Medicare for all is unpopular is an unmitigated liar. So he seems to be upset on December 7th that they won't even vote on it. So he's on the right side of the issue there. So he was on the right side of the issue. So that was December 7th. So I don't know what happened. And 13 days later, he totally flips the script. Cenk Uygur totally goes out of his mind, starts making up bogus arguments against it, even worse, even lamer arguments than AOC. Like, here's one of them. Here's the big one he was pushing. You ready? He says, challenging progressives to defy Democratic leadership and force a floor vote on Medicare for all is so obvious, I've been pushing for it for 2 years. Oh, you have? How's that pressure campaign going for you, Cenk? You got 5 million subscribers? You weren't able to move the needle an inch? And now that we are, he touts to gaslight you about it. The next sentence is a gaslight. He goes, the question is what vote you push on. The one where you hand the speaker position to GOP without any plan is not the one. Now, that's not true. That doesn't happen. That's a scare tactic. And I can't believe Cenk Uygur doesn't know that because it's fucking December 20th. This isn't December 7th. This is December 20th, and it's been explained to him many, many times, and he's still saying this. So that's a guy, that's a bad faith attack. That's a guy trying to kneecap the moment. And you tell me why. Some people say he's taking more corporate money to do it. Some people say he's jealous that it's not his idea. And somebody who was on his show has an idea that's much bigger than him. I don't know why is he doing this, but it's crazy. He knows that's not true. Here's Ryan Grimm to tell you how it happens. That you don't lose the speakership to the GOP. That doesn't happen. Why would he do this? Why the fuck would he do this? Here's Ryan Grimm to explain to you how it works.
She has to go to the House floor, and she has to get 218 votes.
Right.
And by the way, Republicans aren't going to.
By the way, when is a better time for this? When Pelosi has nothing to lose? When would be a better time to push for a Medicare for all vote? When Pelosi has absolutely nothing to lose? And so you're sure she won't do it? Here's Ryan Grimm.
She has to go to the House floor, and she has to get 218 votes.
Right.
And Republicans aren't going to vote for her. And so if she can't get 218 Democrats, then there's no speaker.
Right.
And then it kicks back to the caucus, and then it's chaos, and then a whole bunch of people can run, and then somebody will emerge. Somebody would emerge from that process who would then also need to unify the party and say, we need 218 votes to get to the House floor. So she won it in the caucus, but she has to get through the process because She needs a full-on majority of 218.
And the worry is that if they withhold their vote, she doesn't become, and then it goes back, and they pick someone who's even further to the right of her, right? That's what people are...
That's what people say.
That's hard to get someone further to the right of Nancy Pelosi, isn't it? Come on.
Well, you would think so.
So Cenk is 100,000% wrong about that. The speakership doesn't go to the GOP. And if he doesn't know that, that's almost worse. That's almost worse. You have such a big platform. This is such a big issue. You have no idea how to leverage power against Nancy Pelosi, and you've been talking about it for 2 years, and you don't have the slightest idea how it works, and you're going to come out and smear a guy who's pushing for it? Like you've been smearing me on Twitter? That's what you're going to do, Cenk? Shame on you. Shame on you. You don't even know the facts. This is complete garbage. That's complete garbage, and I've asked him to correct it, and he won't. Many people have asked him to correct it, and he won't. He came up with a new lie. Cenk UYGUR's, he's untethered now. I've seen this happen to him before, and he never admits when he's wrong. And that's who he is. He was 1,000% wrong on Russiagate. He's 1,000% wrong on this. And Ryan Grimm just explained it to you. And here, I'll go to the Congressional Research Service, which he won't do. He won't do it. He's not going to do his research. Cenk UYGUR has no idea how this process works, and he can't stop trying to derail it. Hey, how many votes must a candidate receive to be elected speaker? The longstanding practice of the House is that electing a speaker requires a numerical majority of the votes cast by the members for a person by name. So if they don't vote for Nancy Pelosi, that doesn't go to the GOP. Because the GOP guy didn't get a majority of the votes. That's not how it works. What happens if no member receives sufficient votes? If no candidate receives the requisite majority of the votes cast, the roll call is repeated. No restrictions are imposed on who may receive votes. For instance, no candidate can be eliminated, blah, blah. So that's not how it works. That's not how it works, Cenk. 1,000% wrong. He's screaming. He's wrong and loud about it while he's trying to block Medicare for all. Why the fuck is he doing that? Why? He's got a better fight later? What fight is that? And when is it supposed to happen, Cenk? What the fuck is he doing? Is he looking for another round of funding from his Clinton donors? Is that what this is? He says this is nowhere near true. Before Jimmy Dore jumped in with a half-baked plan. It's a half-baked plan? Because I don't know if you remember, he said it was a constructed effort that actually to get a vote on it. And then 13 days later, now it's a half-baked plan. What changed, Cenk? It caught on? It actually could work? You didn't expect it to actually catch on and everybody get behind it? And now for some reason, that's pretty obvious to me, you don't want to do it? And these are bogus reasons. So now it's a half-baked plan. Okay, I was half-baked when I came up with it, but that's got nothing to do with this.
I was thinking that too.
To plan to hand the GOP leader to speaker position. He's still doing it. He's still lying. Why is he doing that? Ask Cenk why he's lying. Go tweet at him. Ask Cenk why he's lying. Go to their website. Why is Cenk lying? What is he getting out of this? Who's he working for? Who is Cenk working for? Why are you trying to derail this moment? Cenk is being revealed to be a kneecapper of this moment. Do you want Medicare for all vote? Almost 90% of his viewers do. Yet he'll still lie. These are fucking straight up lies. Now it's a half-baked and it hands the speakership to the... No, it doesn't. It doesn't do any of those things. It's unfortunate watching people double down and triple down on doing something about people dying without health care. I go, really, Cenk? You called for doing that? He said, I've called for progressive to challenge Pelosi within the Democratic caucus. I did it publicly, privately. Jimmy made a mess. I made a mess. So getting a ground support, making a moment happen to where we could actually get a vote on Medicare for all in the House where it's overwhelmingly popular with the country, that's making a mess to Cenk UYGUR. Cenk UYGUR would like a tidy revolution, everybody. Please don't try not to make a mess. Democracy's messy, Cenk. Revolutions are messy, Cenk. You want a tidy revolution, Cenk? Because you already have health care? Because you send 3 emails out a fucking week asking poor people to give you more money so you can have gold-plated health care? When are we supposed to wait for health care, Cenk? Why don't you give up your health care and then tell me when we should work for it? Give up your health care, Cenk, and then tell me when we should have that vote. Go ahead. Give up the health care for you and your family. Give it up. Why not? 15 million Americans just lost theirs, and you're telling them to wait for health care. That's disgusting. Why are you doing that? You're not even doing it in an honest way. You're doing it in the most dishonest way possible. You're lying, and you're using bullshit excuses, and you're slamming me in the process. You're making it about me. You're making it about me, and everybody sees what you're doing. You know, everybody had a lot of questions about Cenk before this, but this just solidifies it. He's over. This is ridiculous. He's against Medicare for all at the wrong time. And he's lying about it. None of that stuff is true. He didn't think it was half-baked, and you don't give the speaker the thing. That's just garbage. He sounds like a politician who's running. He sounds like he's scrambling as a politician, but he's not. He's the head of a media company that needs another round of funding. So he said he's been calling to do this to Pelosi for 2 years. I go, really? You called for doing that? How'd that pressure campaign work out for you? You're a sad little man who has no idea how to actually fight or challenge power since you took $20 million from Clinton donors. Get your head out of your ass and get on board. # force the vote. Get on board, Cenk. I'll let you back in. You can take this. In fact, I'd like to take the week off. And you can pick up the mantle, Cenk. It'll be yours. I'll say Cenk thought of it. I'll say we were nowhere until Cenk got on board. It was Cenk who did # force the vote. Would that make you fight for it, Cenk? Because that's what everybody thinks. Would you fight for it then? Take it. Go fight for people's health care. You've been saying you've been doing it for 2 years. You've been saying let's pressure Pelosi for 2 years. Now's the time. When's a better time, Cenk?
I thought the whole idea was that you elect progressives and you continue to push them left. I thought that was the whole point of rallying around a force of people. You're supposed to continue to pressure them. And for people to be screaming at the top of their lungs to be more civil in the midst of this shitstorm and crisis, my head keeps snapping back.
So this is the perfect response to Cenk. So Cenk is admitting that Nancy Pelosi would rather give up her speakership than give us a vote on single payer during COVID-19 pandemic. Cenk is admitting that if we hold Nancy's feet to the fire, she'll just go, fuck it, I'm not giving you a vote, and then the GOP will take over, which isn't going to happen. And he's putting that on us, not on Nancy Pelosi. And so this guy says, so you're admitting that Nancy Pelosi would rather give up her speakership than give us a vote on single payer. You're kind of making Jimmy's point for him. You guys don't care. Some more gaslighting from Cenk UYGUR. This is nuts. This is just nuts. This is nuts. This is like he's become the Glenn Beck of Sean Hannity's. He's got the dishonesty of Sean Hannity with the theatrics of Glenn Beck. That's what Cenk has right now. This is nuts what he's doing. Nuts. You guys don't get it. Every real progressive knows Pelosi only cares about power. If you just discovered that yesterday, you're very late to the party. Every progressive knows she's against Medicare for all. She said it. The question is how you challenge her so you can win.
Okay.
Still waiting to hear how that is. You can't just put win in all caps and be done with it. How do you win? How do you do it? How do you win? You just because you put win in all cap, what's your plan? You said you've been working on this for 2 years to pressure Nancy Pelosi. What's your plan? It's still no plan. He's still just making shit up. Still trying to kneecap the moment for absolutely no reason. You know, who knows? My guess, he needs another round of funding from Clinton donors, $20 million. He's not independent media, even though he says so in its fundraising. He's super corporate, takes money from fucking those people. And so Brandon Pagano replies to Jank and says, this isn't an own. I know Nancy Pelosi isn't for Medicare for all, but if she enjoys power so much, she'll put it on the floor for her last term. That's by your logic as well, Jank. It's silly to disarm ourselves like you're suggesting, which is exactly what he's suggesting. He goes on, more craziness. You want to see more? This is nuts. Jank must have taken an Ambien and then went to Twitter. If you think I'm for disarming, you haven't watched 1 minute of the Young Turks. But aiming your cannons wildly and then against your own is not how I roll. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I try to think things through. You have no idea how the speakership works. You haven't thought a fucking minute. You're flailing. You're throwing shit against the wall to see what will stop this moment. It's obvious you haven't thought about this for a second. You had 13 days to think about it since you were 100% for it, and now all these reasons are ridiculous on their face. You sound like Nancy Pelosi trying to find reasons not to do it. Now he switches it. Have you secured any progressives in the House to run against Pelosi? Oh, you forgot. So now he keeps shifting the goalposts. He just keeps doing it. Every time something he says gets debunked, he just moves on to another stupider thing. Who doesn't see through this? His kids have to see through this. The force to vote is actually the sort of thing that should occur within Congress and caucuses as a tactical move. The fact it has been pushed outside of this political body tells you a great deal about the laissez-faire nature of American politics and its failure. Again, Jank, your political acumen here is sloppy. What happened to you? Middle of a deadly pandemic, Pelosi, right-wing, Dem extremely disliked and unpopular. Nancy Pelosi's less popular than Trump. 20% approval. Squad now has the Overton window of leverage over Pelosi. Medicare for all, 72% popular, over 80% among Democrats. And Jank says, keep waiting. Hold your powder. Now is not the time. Keep waiting. Keep waiting for health care. What? When are you, Jank, and TYT going to stop making excuses for politicians making excuses? The whole mission of Justice Democrats was to have inside progressives fight against corporate Democrats, and now you're making excuses for them. That's the nicest way to put it, that he's making excuses for politicians. That's the nicest way. The more accurate way is he's trying to stop Medicare from all, the greatest moment that we've had for it in my lifetime. He's trying to kneecap it as hard as he can, and he's doing it right out in public, and his own audience sees through him. There is nothing wrong with force to vote. Wait, I thought it was a half-baked idea that was going to give the GOP leadership over to the blah, 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 blah. I thought there was a lot wrong with it. Now he says there's nothing wrong with force to vote. What's wrong is the time. Oh, no, it's the timing.
Oh, December?
Now it's the timing. So he's just he sounds like AOC talking to Justin Jackson. Why is he doing that? I know why AOC's doing it. Why is he doing it? Is someone paying him? Does he want to get more money from Clinton donors? What is he doing? Someone find out.
He calls it strategy.
He calls it strategy.
Wait.
Strategy. He's thought this through. Wait. I thought this through. Wait a little longer. Wait till you don't have any leverage. I thought this through. Keep waiting. Let's do force the vote 10 more times at the right time. Just not now. What the fuck? Everyone sees through this. No one's even his own followers aren't liking these tweets. I go on his thing and I ratio his ass like I'm crazy. He's having a meltdown and he has a big platform, and that's why I'm bringing this up so that we can maybe get Jank UYGUR back on board with hashtag force the vote because we need him. Yes, we need to keep waiting. You are such a good boy Democrat, Jank. Did Jank get his talking point straight from Nara Tanden again? Because that's what it sounds like. You sound like Nara Tanden. Sounds just like her. Sounds just like AOC. Sounds just like a politician. That's what Jank sounds like. Why? Watch this. You ready for this? Hold on to your ready? Hold on to your Watch this. This is awesome. Now, let me say to progressives in Congress, you are also creating a mess within the movement by never taking action against established Democrats. Jank just told them, don't take action. This whole thing is Jank telling them not to do anything right now. And then he does a tweet saying, you guys got to start doing something. Come on. Did Jank take an Ambien? They are not your colleagues. We are. If you want to protect other people in power, we sent the wrong folks. Step up and fight. Why are you being so mean to AOC? Why are you being so mean to the women in Congress, Jank? What the fuck? He's telling them to step up and fight as he tells them to step down and don't fight. What is going on? Text me, Jank. What is going on? And just so you know, that's horrible what he's doing. What he's doing is disgusting. What he's doing is disgusting. And who is Jank UYGUR? I'm a union buster, former pro-war Republican, took $20 million from Clinton donors, and I still pretend I'm an independent so I can beg poor people for money 3 times a week from my cell phone in direct marketing campaigns while I smear true indie media because they advocate for force the vote. Can I just go back? I like being aggressive and often, just not now. I'll give him credit. 280 characters doesn't give you a lot of room to contradict yourself, but he managed to do it in 4 times in one tweet. There he is getting his $20 million from Clinton donors. Hillary Clinton raises $2.1 million at Jeffrey Katzenberg's co-hosted Hollywood fundraiser. So that's who. And so instead of getting together and getting behind hashtag force the vote, this is what Jank UYGUR is doing with his time. His pressure campaign is to raise money from fucking poor people. Dear Professor Weed, that's my handle. I'm a subscriber. 2020 has not been a great year for the media. It says time is running out. Oh my God, this is from TYT. Time is running out. 2020 has not been a great year for the media. With the economy in the tubes, many have had to make cuts, and independent media hasn't been immune. So give us money. This is his pressure campaign right now. They keep 3 times a week, if not 4 or 5. Give us money. We need money from you. The economy's tough. I bet you guys have it tough. Give us some money. You know, we did the exact opposite here at the show. We said, nobody's got a job, keep your money. They can't stop begging for money. As he tells you that we shouldn't fight for Medicare for all. What is going on here? What is going on here? This is his pressure campaign. But we still have a long way to go to reach our 2 million fundraising goal by the end of 2020, and time is running out. So today I'm asking you to step up and give whatever amount you can. Hey, fuck off. Why don't you try helping people during the middle of a pandemic instead of raising money off them in such a disingenuous way? This is from Jenk's iPhone. They said this is a professional marketing. They paid thousands of dollars to hire a marketing team to do fucking marketing for them. And they do bullshit shit like politicians do to get you to fucking give them money. He pretends Jenk's sending you a thing from his iPhone. I'm writing from my iPhone, so I'll keep this short. And it usually comes at 2 a.m. This is real. In the last 2 days, we've raised $7,346 towards our December matching fund, which we'll use at the end of the month to enter a new super supporters to donate for the first time. Now I'm asking you to make one more final push and then give us another 10 grand before midnight. Imagine if I sent out an email like that, what people would be doing to me. Imagine if I did that. We need to raise $10,000 more before midnight. What the fuck? You got $20 million from Katzenberg. What did you do with that money? You got $2 million to hire reporters, and then you fired them all. What'd you do with that $2 million? Wow. For all the forced to vote people who absolutely refuse to have any strategy, who is the progressive who is going to run against... You're nuts. No matter who runs. Well, here, I'll just tell you, because he's saying you got to have another progressive waiting to take over. And if you don't, you have to vote for Nancy Pelosi. That's what he's saying. Jenk's saying you have to vote for Nancy Pelosi right now. Jenk is saying you have to vote for Nancy Pelosi right now. The guy who claims he's been telling you to vote against her for 2 years is now bending himself into a pretzel to figure out why you have... That's what he's saying. I'll read it to you. For all the hashtag forced to vote people who will absolutely refuse to have any strategy, who is the progressive who is going to run against Pelosi in caucus? If you don't have one, what is the next step? Okay, the next step is, Jenk, no matter who it is, you demand Medicare for all vote or they don't get their vote. That's why it goes back to caucus. And so the next person to step up would have to agree to a floor vote to become speaker. This is 2 + 2 = 4, and Cenk Uygur is gaslighting his own followers and the country right now to kneecap this moment by pretending not to understand it, and he's getting it wrong in a million different ways. This is unbelievably dumb. And he's getting it wrong in a million ways. And he's supposed to be a policy guy? He thinks this through? He hasn't thought this through for a second. This is a guy shooting from the hip like a wild maniac who's backpedaling like he's backpedaling. He's got nowhere to go. Do you see this? Who do you want instead of Pelosi? I don't give a fuck who it is as long as they agree to a Medicare for all vote. Doesn't matter who it is. Same demand. They can't become speaker without the votes of the squad, Cenk. You understand that? He does, and he's lying. Another lie about forced to vote from Cenk Uygur. We are pressuring Pelosi to bring a floor vote. If someone else is nominated for speaker, same demand, floor vote for Medicare for all. Cenk is flailing. He is clearly trying to kneecap this moment for Medicare for all. Just to let you know, Cenk Uygur's own company, his own audience, overwhelmingly supports this idea. His own viewers see right through him. He's cultivated these people, and they see right through him. He's cultivated. This is his audience, not mine. And almost 9 out of 10 of them see right through his bullshit. Holy shit. And he's sticking and he's digging in. And so I've been asked by people to not do this. I've been asked by people because this is such an important moment, this hashtag forced to vote, and this could actually happen, and we could actually get Medicare for all. I've been asked by people not to do this. Now, the reason why I'm doing this with Cenk Uygur is to combat these bad ideas because they're spreading like wildfire. and they come from a think tank that's committed to stopping Medicare for all, and then it gets repeated. And Jank's repeating it or making, and some of that stuff he just made up out of his ass. And so now's the moment where I have to remind everybody, this isn't about Cenk Uygur. This is not about Jimmy Dore. This is about a great idea. As Dylan Ratigan said, the reason why people are upset is because this is a great idea. So let's get on board behind the idea, Cenk. You can take ownership of it. I'll let it go. And I'll forget all that stupid shit you've been doing. The pressure campaign you've been mounting to get poor people to give you money. That's the campaign. That's what you're spending your time doing right now in a fucking pandemic. You're bugging people 3-4 times a week from your cell phone to give you fucking money. That's your pressure campaign right now in this moment. Yes, that is. Well, I'm asking you to drop it. I'm asking you to stop emailing poor people and asking them to give you fucking money right now in the middle of a goddamn depression and a pandemic. And I'm asking you to get on board with hashtag force the vote. I'll forgive you of all your sins. All of them. If we get Medicare for people, let's do it. Join the fight, Cenk. Hashtag force the vote. Join the fight, Cenk. Your audience wants you to do it. People who are sick want you to do it. I want you to do it. People who are dying, 15 million people who just lost their health care want you to do it. Not one of those people wants you to wait, Cenk. Get on board, Cenk, now. I'm welcoming you with open arms. I'll give you that. I'll give it to you. You take it. I want to take a few days off. I've been getting my teeth kicked in for 2 straight fucking weeks by the entire universe because I'm advocating for health care and people like you are undermining it for whatever reason. Now stop it and get on board. And if you do, I'll forgive you. Get on board. This is bigger than us, Cenk. It's bigger than you. It's much bigger than you and your ego. It's much bigger than me. This is about a great idea and getting sick people health care in the middle of a pandemic. Cut it out. Get on board. I'm welcoming you with open arms. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.